Schiff, let me go to you. I just don't understand. We've had TALF, we have TARP, Super TARP now, public-private TARP to buy toxic assets. We've had a mortgage bailout plan in great detail in the last 48 hours. And guess what? Consumer finance companies that might have benefited from TALF, down 12% today, Peter. Banks that are supposed to benefit from all this, down 12% today, Peter. We had some lousy mortgage default and foreclosure numbers. The business CapEx numbers were very poor. Peter, what might, I know you're a bear, but what would change your mind? Is there something out there that would trigger at least one of your little bull markets in a long bear cycle, according to your book?
The government's going to have to stop trying to help. I mean, you're making the connection.
Amen.
Every time the government does something, they make the situation worse.
It would seem so.
Barack Obama is saying that he's doing things differently from George Bush. He's doing the same thing. Remember, when Bush came to office, he inherited a recession and a bursted stock market bubble, and he tried to artificially stimulate the economy with deficit spending and cheap money. And Barack Obama is doing the exact same thing, only he's inherited a much bigger problem, so he's not even going to get a short-term boost out of his stimulus. He's just going to make the situation worse immediately.
But, Peter, guess what? One of the little mustard seeds here is the U.S. dollar. Now, I know you're a long-term dollar bear, but the dollar has been great. Almost for a year, it's up 25%. The dollar was up again today. Isn't that a good signal for something in this mix?
Well, I think certainly the fact that the dollar has risen from its historic lows 8 months ago, that's why the crisis isn't even worse. I mean, imagine what would be happening in this country if the dollar wasn't rising, if prices were rising, if interest rates were rising. All that would be happening if foreigners weren't pouring their money into our bonds. But I don't think that's permanent. I think that money is going to leave even more quickly than it came. And that's why I think the real crisis is in front of us when this thing turns into a currency crisis.
Michael Cugino, welcome back. Look, you got some very prominent names. They're not so prominent in terms of market capitalization anymore, but it all seemed to dominate market attitudes and demoralization today. General Motors, Citi, General Electric. Give me a thought on this as a veteran and successful stock picker. What is going on? Some of America's greatest companies seem to be going down the chute. I hate like hell to put GE in that, but right now there's a bear raid going on General Electric, whether that is merited or not, Michael Cugino. Where can one go here? Where can one look?
Well, it's a combination of factors, Larry. I think you have declining earnings, a recessionary environment, questions about asset quality on the balance sheets, and a very large uncertainty. I mean, a couple of the other guests have already mentioned it in terms of confidence in public policy and confidence in enacting the right programs to get us out of this robustly. And I think until that confidence comes back, we're going to see sort of a lack of interest, if you will, for nothing better than in stocks right now. People just are not that interested in buying them.
Michael, aren't stocks traditionally, I know Zachary says stocks are going to lag this time, but traditionally, don't you see confidence in business returning first through the prism of a rising stock market?
Well, I do, Larry. I think the economy at some point in time will improve despite the fiscal programs we've enacted. But I think the issue is, look at GE. We were talking about it last week. It was around 10 or 11, then 9. It's not a bad buy there, but now it's at 6. What's to say it's not going to go to 1 or 2 tomorrow? Why do I need to buy right now when I don't have confidence in the structure that they're going to be operating in next week or next month?
Go ahead. Who's talking?
Yeah, Peter, the problem with the companies like General Electric and General Motors, for years, these companies weren't earning their money in manufacturing. They earned it in finance. I mean, General Motors always lost money selling cars. It made money financing cars. And General Electric, the same thing. They kept getting more and more of their earnings from finance. And now that's coming back to bite them. And they have tremendous losses in their finance divisions. And I think on their balance sheet, the unknown liabilities related to all this debt financing probably dwarfs the value of their productive assets.
Well, let me go to Michael
Peter brings up a good point, Larry. One of the things you have to do as an investor in this environment is to separate out earnings quality and underlying businesses from the asset valuation FAS 157 type issues on the balance sheet.
This is a hard thing to do. This is becoming a very hard thing to do because everything seems to be going down in almost tsunami waves. I mean, look, I got to give you one. Let me go to Michael Farr. I've been trying to get to you for 20 minutes. Hello, Michael. How are you, buddy?
Hello, Larry.
Look,
how are you, pal?
you know, we are spending literally trillions of dollars to bail out banks, get rid of the toxic assets, now consumer asset-related bonds through TALF with the mortgage bailout. You know what? Take a look at the numbers today, Michael. Consumer finance companies that should benefit from TALF, which is meaning the Fed is going to essentially finance the purchases of consumer-related asset-backed bonds. 12% down. Sallie Mae, which the Obama administration is crucifying Sallie Mae by taking away their private lending, that's down 15%. But a good bank, a good trust operation, Capital One down 14, American Express down 12, Discover down 11. Those are credit card issuers that should benefit from TALF. They're getting killed. Then you look at the banks. All this talk, this guy Geithner, who no one will work for, we're going to cover that in a minute, literally, his deputy nominee and his undersecretary nominee are walking away. I have no idea whether it has to do with taxes or not. But look at Wells Fargo down 19%, JP Morgan down 19%, Bank of America down 12%, and Citigroup down 10%. It's a buck stock. In other words, nothing is working, Michael Farr, despite an upward sloping, normal, right-sized yield curve, which is normally a signal of economic recovery and is normally healthy for banks and financial institutions. They are getting killed on a daily basis with almost no exceptions. What is it? The Dow is off 14 of the last 18 trading sessions, Michael Farr. What the hell's going on here?
You know, everything's going to hell, Larry. I mean, it basically is what's going on, or at least that's the overall presumption.
This is America. This country
Larry,
never goes to hell.
You know,
never. This is America.
The markets are figuring out here that the banking system's going to be worth zero, or that's the message that they're sending.
This might be America, Larry, but the Americans are broke. The Americans who have been borrowing all this money can't pay it back. That's the problem.
For clarity, the government's just muddying things up, and it's not helping.
Go ahead, Zach, real quick.
It is just not true that Americans are broke as a generalized statement. The banks have absolutely cratered systemic problems. Most Americans are paying down their credit card debt. 90-some-odd% of them are employed, and they're saving 5% a month. I mean, that's a ludicrous statement.
You see, I think that we are
they're starting to save because they're broke.
I think to some extent. The government is making bad decisions, gentlemen, all right? That's my editorial, as you know. But I also think in the last couple of years, bankers have made very bad decisions, brokers have made very bad decisions, mortgage lenders have made very bad decisions, some CEOs have made bad decisions.
Because of the Fed, Larry.
Consumers have made bad decisions.
Because of bad monetary policy.
But I have no doubt, if left to its own devices, we are still productive and resilient and durable. There's a spirit of entrepreneurship which not even the Obama people can stop. We will get out of this. I just believe, I have come around to believe that the government has seriously become the problem now. I mean, everything they touch turns to stone.
They've always been the problem, Larry.
Michael, Peter Schiff, where are you going here? Give me your investment, real quick. One.
Get out of the U.S. before they do any more damage.
All right, Michael,
and before the dollar turns.
Michael Cugino, where are you going right here when the market opens tomorrow?
Well, U.S. stocks long-term, and I still like gold because of the inflationary pressure we're going to see someday.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Our investment panel is going to continue. Zachary Karabell, Michael Farr, they got more work to do. We're going to be joined by fresh new recruits to talk about this dreary story.